It's 10 o'clock, and this is Fox 10 Talks. There have been so many developments over the course of the last 24, really more like 18 hours, when it comes to the most wanted man in America. We are talking about the shooter, the man who walked into a classroom while student exams were underway at one of the top universities in America, Brown University in Providence. And this is that man, according to police. Now that we know who he is, and by the way, as they closed in on where they thought he might be hiding out, they realized he was dead. He had apparently taken his own life, and we've learned a lot as the story has unfolded. So, good morning, everybody. I'm Ron Hoon. We have that story coming up for you here on Fox 10 Talks. We've got 2 hours of information and conversation, and we have a lot coming up, including, can you reverse the aging process or at least slow it down dramatically? We've got an expert later this hour to talk about that. Let's roll out our poll question. Oh, hold on. We didn't get that updated yet. This is yesterday's poll question. That's about those license plates up there in Flagstaff. So give me just a second here, and I bet you we can get that updated. We have a poll question today, and it has to do with whether or not you think President Trump can actually, and this is all based on that speech he gave, whether he can actually get the economy turned around in time to, have a chance at a decent election prospect for Republicans next year. All right, so we do need to get that poll question updated, and we will get you the very latest with that QR code. That is all coming up. But let's get on to the big story of the morning, and it has to do with this man. This guy, his identity has now been released, but boy, wait till you hear how they were able to track him down. It was information that's a tipster, believe it or not, had posted on Reddit, saying the police need to really look into this one particular guy, known only as John. In a police affidavit, the source is being described by investigators as the guy who really cracked the case, not just in the mass shooting there at Brown, but then the targeted killing of an MIT professor who was shot at his home a couple of days later in the Boston area. And ever since the shooter unloaded more than 40 rounds inside the engineering building, there had been a very intense manhunt. Finally, on the 6th day of the investigation, the case gathered steam, and it ended with police making the announcement last night. They had found the suspected gunman, and it was from a self-inflicted gunshot wound, and the man who gave the tip was a guy named John, and we hope to learn a lot more about him. John apparently was wandering around the same neighborhood that the shooter was and had several encounters with the now dead mass shooter Claudio Valente. As police posted images of a person of interest, John started posting on Reddit. He recognized the person and said police should be looking into him and possibly a rental car, a gray Nissan. Reddit users then urged him to tell the FBI. John said he did get that tip in there. And the police affidavit said that they learned about the tip 3 days after the shooting and a day after the tip line was created. But apparently he had some sort of interactions. He bumped into the guy outside just a few blocks away, where John watched the gunman suddenly turn around from the Nissan, acting very suspiciously when he saw John there, maybe about 100 feet or so away on the sidewalk. And then it kind of devolved into a game of cat and mouse. And at one point, John yelled out, "Hey, your car is back there. Why are you circling the block?" And the now dead gunman, according to this police affidavit, said back to John, "I don't know you from nobody. Why are you harassing me?" So really interesting developments. And one of the questions, of course, is there's a $50,000 reward out there. So the man who they do believe cracked the case, we'll get his whole name, I'm sure, soon, John. And they say, yeah, it looks like he's going to be entitled to that $50,000 reward that was out there. Listen to more right here.
And I will tell you that he took his own life. He was a Portuguese national, and his last known address was in Miami, Florida.
So investigators identified the vehicle that he had rented in Boston and then drove to Rhode Island. And he was seen the vehicle was seen outside of Brown, and there was security footage that showed a person who resembled him. There was financial investigations that were going on in the background that linked him not only to that car, but also to the hotels that he had rented.
Yeah, and apparently the guy was even changing license plates. He had premeditated this thing so thoroughly that was one of the ways he thought maybe he could get away with the crime, but they did close in on him. And so the case has been solved, and we will undoubtedly have a lot more for you as the next couple of days go on. We do have that poll question all set and ready to go. Will President Trump get the economy fixed by next year? Shannon Bream, Fox News Sunday. Really interesting insight from her as to what's going on. And you'll hear from her here coming up in about 10 minutes. But costs are coming down. Yeah, he can get this done. Taxes are dropping 80%. No, healthcare costs, housing costs, they're just going to keep going up. That's 20%. And then your third option, maybe he will get the economy improved, but it still won't be enough to save Republicans in 2026. Grab that QR code. I'll leave it up there for a few more seconds so you can grab it with your phone and give us your vote. We would love to know your opinion. In the meantime, the big local story was an officer-involved shooting that happened in the overnight hours, and our Dominique Newland was reporting out there for us just a little while ago.
Good morning. Buckeye police have been out here for several hours due to this officer-involved shooting. You can see behind me, still very active once the sun does come up. We know that this all stemmed at around 3:45 this morning due to a fight that broke out in front of one of the homes here. You can see that mobile command unit currently on scene as well. So we're told when officers arrived, they found a man in his 40s with a gun, and an altercation took place, and that man suffered a single gunshot wound to his arm. The officer involved in the shooting applied a tourniquet in order to stop the bleeding. He was transported to the hospital. But keep in mind, this is a residential area, a lot of homes here in this neighborhood. Here's more about what Buckeye police had to say about the investigation. Take a listen.
Well, Buckeye police have multiple witnesses that were on scene when this happened. And so investigators are going to take a lot of time talking to all those witnesses, reviewing all the evidence that they have. So they are going to be out here on scene for a few hours.
She did go on to say there is no threat, no danger to the public. As far as when this portion of the neighborhood will reopen, they weren't able to give me an exact answer. They said it probably will be for several hours, but all of the surrounding main roads, it won't be an issue. Nothing is closed off to the public as far as just this area behind me due to this officer-involved shooting investigation. Guys.
Okay, so there you go with some of the latest information coming in. You've got police out there on an every night basis doing what they can to try to keep the community safe. And Syleste joins as well. Good morning, Syleste.
Good morning, everyone. Mm-hmm. How are you, Ron?
Really good, Syleste. You look like you're in the Christmas mood with that beautiful red Christmassy dress.
Thank you, Ron. It's red velvet. Like yes, Santa, like correct. Santa.
Yes.
Yeah. So we'll see. I'm hoping to be on the nice list.
It's a good look, that's for sure.
I'm trying to work my way up there.
Okay, hey, let's get out to Hayley Fixler with Fox 5, our sister station in New York. Boy, there's, I think, Hayley, great anticipation for this release of the remainder of the Epstein Files. What do we know about what might be coming out today? And do we have any idea on the timeline?
We don't have the timeline yet, Ron and Celeste. We do know that the deadline is today, so they do have to be released at some point today. But we do know from the U.S. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche that there's going to be several 100,000 documents released today. So all different forms, he said, photographs and other materials. So that's kind of what we're expecting to get, hopefully within the next 5-6 hours.
Hayley, do we know at all where they will be released? I'm sure there's lots of members of the public who are thinking, hey, I want to see some of these files, some of these photos for myself.
Well, the previous releases have been through the House committee that is in charge of the subpoena. So I assume it'll be on that website, the DOJ. It'll be very public as soon as they're released. It will not be hard to find them.
And, let's face it, this case has been full of leaks for months. Do we have you seen any reporting yet regarding the big names that might be out there? Or are we going to be in another situation where it's page after page of redactions?
It's unclear right now. A lot of those photos from the release yesterday and then a few days ago, we saw Woody Allen, we saw Bill Gates, we saw former President Bill Clinton, President Trump. So I think the photographs will be telling. But again, none of the people photographed have had accusations against them. They're just photographed and they're in photos that Epstein had in his possession. So it's unclear what we will have. I do know that Todd Blanche once again said that their main goal is also to not only release all of this, but to protect the victims. So they are going to be redacting victims' names and their stories. But other than that, we don't know what's going to be censored.
From your perspective and kind of covering this story, I think there has been, there's a lot of controversy, right, about these photos and about everything, all the information that it could share. From the people that you've chatted with and talked to while investigating this story and covering it, what are your thoughts on the significance, I guess, and the big picture of releasing these photos?
We got about 30 seconds left. Go ahead.
So, a lot of people want to have answers. A lot of people are hoping to get some more clarity about what all of this is. And so there is a lot of significance. And I think that the 30-day deadline that President Trump signed November 19th, and again, the deadline is today, is a big step forward to a lot of people finding out some answers.
Okay, excellent. Hayley, thank you for your reporting. We are all absolutely waiting. We just don't know when the document dump is coming, Celeste.
Yeah, that's so true. Thank you, Hayley.
All right, Hayley, great. Thanks for that report. Mystery Cam time. Oh, look at this snowy sight. Where do you think it is? We'll be right back. And welcome to more of FTT, everybody. It's Fox 10 Talks, and I feel, Celeste, as we look at the mystery cam for the day, that it's getting snowier by the minute.
Yes.
I mean, we took this just going into the break, but yeah, you're having a harder and harder time just seeing across the lake. And I do think that everybody was wise enough to get their boats out of that little marina and dry dock them somewhere, because wherever this is, people know it can be a long winter.
Yeah, we have a couple of really good guesses. Many of you, good morning to everyone out there in the chat. Thanks for joining us. We have David Perry says he's going to have to say Maine. A couple of Iowas. Louis Gonzalez says Iowa, and so does B. Miguel. We also have a Michigan from Brandy the Bookworm. I'm going to go with Michigan as well.
All right.
And Buddha Sheep, who lives out in the East Valley.
Oh, Buddha Sheep, yes,
Buddha
one
Sheep.
of our regular guessers. And
He lives down in Queen Creek.
all right, Buddha Sheep.
Yeah.
By the way, Buddha Sheep is also with Brandy, so Michigan is proving to be a popular choice. Well, look at this guy here. Now, you got a couple of folks driving on the main side of the road, and then that guy, I don't know, he just pulled up in the parking lot. I don't know what's going on, but it's all happening live right in front of us, Celeste.
Yeah, no kidding. Illinois, Linda Monchurth. Oh, Coca-Cola's making a big
There
delivery.
you go. It's on
coming
its way.
through.
On its way to the UP.
That's right.
You guys like Michigan? I guess I will go. Where else? It's got to be in somewhere in that. I'll go Wisconsin.
You're going to go
Ready?
Wisconsin.
Here we go.
Here is the mystery camera. Kelly Laws working in E&G for Dino this week. Oh.
What do you see, Celeste?
Is it the Connaught Lake, Pennsylvania?
Connaught. Or is it Conneaut? Anyway, look at that.
Is that Pennsylvania?
It's Pennsylvania. The snow is coming down. Literally, I mean, you could barely see the roads, Celeste, in that pic you guys had from Michigan earlier. So this just shows you it's Michigan, it's probably Wisconsin, it's across through Ohio, and all the way into Pennsylvania.
Yeah, it's a borough in Pennsylvania, Conneaut Lake.
Nice.
Yeah, it is snowing hard.
Anyhow, thanks for your guesses on that. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us here on a Friday for Fox 10 Talks. There have been 2 new holidays created since yesterday's show.
Yeah, get excited because, these are paid for holidays.
And if it was up to us, we'd have even more. But this one came straight from the president. It just happened yesterday.
Yes, it did.
And so here's what we have learned so far, everybody, about the president's decision for 2 new federal holidays. We are working feverishly in our newsroom to find out if we're getting extra pay, Celeste.
Oh, yes. What days can I schedule these?
Well, the new holidays are Christmas Eve, so you can get the 24th off, and December the 26th, so that you have a day to rest and recoup from all the action on the 25th. Basically, it's going to create a 5-day holiday break for anybody who follows the federal guidelines. We know that's going to be a real benefit for every single person that works for the federal government. You would think the states would probably follow suit, at least some of them.
Yeah, you would think so. I did a little digging. It says these are not permanent federal holidays, which require congressional action, like Juneteenth was. That was a congressional movement. But executive branch closures for 2025, though they function similarly for most employees. So right now, it's not permanent as a federal holiday, but that doesn't mean that. I think you need to call your congressman or congresswoman.
They can't get anything done.
I don't know. Maybe everybody. Well, here's the thing: they all get the days off anyway.
Oh, they have a 14-day Christmas break, probably something like that. Actually, let's see. I think they're wrapping up this week, so that means all of next week and all of the week after that. So you tack the weekends on, they get about a 20-day holiday.
Yeah, so call today. Call them today.
All right. Speaking of what's going on in Washington, Shannon Bream, we get our visits in with her every Friday, and we had some big topics to talk about with her. So here's what she had to say. Shannon, clearly the president realizes he's got to get this affordability issue solved, or it could be bad for Republicans next year. Look, gas prices are down. But let's talk housing. Rents are so high. Mortgage rates are high, so high that people by the millions won't sell their house because they're not going to give up 3% mortgage. He did tease that he's got a plan in the works. Have you heard in the wind anything about what that plan might be for housing? And honestly, what can be done in the next, 10 or 11 months to really turn that around?
Yeah, so not specifics on the housing, but there has been a conversation about whether you make mortgages portable. So if you love your 3% mortgage, can you take it to buy a different house, open up your house maybe to a younger, newer buyer that maybe is the entry into the housing market for them? So, I mean, that's one of those issues that's being talked about. Obviously, he continues to pressure the Fed to lower interest rates. They're looking at the inflation number they got this week, much better than expected. So they feel like there are positive things happening. And the president's message the other night was like, hold on, you can't turn around this thing in one, month or two, or 11 months even, to say we inherited a situation that we're trying to fix. They're pointing to some fundamentals that are improving. It's something that I will ask Kevin Hassett about, the top economic advisor to the president, when he joins us on Sunday.
All right. There's some thought that the campaign ad back last year that took aim on Kamala Harris' position on transgenderism might have played a role in her loss. So yesterday, RFK Jr., Dr. Oz talked about getting tough on hospitals who perform these gender-altering surgeries on children. But tell us about the legislation up on Capitol Hill. Any chance that there'll be Republicans in the Senate that maybe have some Democrats join them? Because if not, aren't Democrats handing Republican the very issue that they helped them win last year?
Yeah, it's a great question. And Democrats will say, look, in the special elections and the elections that you had, the gubernatorial elections, all of those in the last couple of months, that hasn't shown up as a top issue, but it did work really well for President Trump in the last presidential election. So it's one of those things that also public polling, it's kind of an 80-20 issue when you ask about things like people born biologically male, being in female sports, especially in the high school and college spaces. So it's something that might be workable for the Republicans as an advantage. But right now, what people care about is the economy. Our polls show over and over again, people don't feel hopeful. They don't think things are improving. As you said, the president is going to hammer this message. He'll be in North Carolina to talk about it again tonight. So I think they realize that's their number one issue if you're going to sway voters in the next, 11 months.
All right. Just real quick, where do things stand on health care subsidies as we get into the deadline here just a few weeks away?
So they're going to expire on December 31st. Everyone is leaving here in Washington if they haven't already. Senate and House members will be gone, and we'll have to see how they decide to fix it in the new year. We've got a bipartisan group, Congressman Fitzpatrick, Congressman Swozey with us to talk about it on Sunday. Do they have any common ground, and how do you move things forward?
I love it. I mean, you get the headlines during the week. You get the perspective on the weekend with Shannon's show. We'll be watching Sunday morning at 8.
See you Sunday.
Yep. See you. All right, Celeste, I think I may have come up with a new slogan for Fox News Sunday.
Go for it, my friend.
You get the headlines during the week. You get the perspective with Shannon.
Yeah.
It's really
I like
true,
it.
right?
Well, because she gives you this big picture view of what's happening. She has great guests on who kind of break down some of the big stories of the week.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love it.
She's amazing.
So one of the big talks, obviously, the president gave that speech. And then we talked with Shannon about it. Affordability. There's so many different areas. We talked yesterday, Celeste.
Yes.
There were a couple of gas stations here in town that were as low as $2.79.
Yeah, it's
gas prices are really dropping. I feel like at the grocery store they've stabilized.
The prices.
Yeah. So I feel like I'm paying about what I did a month ago, 2 months ago, 3 months ago.
And I think because you do the grocery shopping at your house. Yeah. So I was actually at Bash's the other day. If you're doing any baking, we did not have time to cover grocery ads yesterday or today.
Oh, yeah.
But all your grocery needs are like $197, $297 at Bash's with a digital coupon.
Yeah.
And we're making tamales. My mom's actually watching right now. Hi, Mom. Good morning.
Great. Love it. Is she making them now?
Oh, no. We're going to make them at my house this weekend. and my family, my tias, cousins will come over.
Cool.
But
what time should Dave and I and Bella be over?
You know what? Come over in the morning and stay all day.
Tomorrow morning?
But I'm going to put you to work.
Okay, very good. Celeste Kitchen, it's a rare invite.
If you're making tamales, though, they also have meat on sale at Bash's'. I think we're starting to see those prices at the grocery store start to drop a little bit.
Yeah. Well,
or at least,
just if they would just lock in kind of where they are now, I think people would be happy. All right, so poll question time. Here you go. Is he going to get this economy fixed by next year? That's probably what the whole voting is going to be about when we get to next November. 78% of you are pretty optimistic. Yes, you say costs are coming down and taxes are dropping. 13% are saying no because healthcare costs are going to keep going up. Housing prices, rents, these mortgage rates, they're all going to keep going up. And almost 10% say maybe he will, but it won't be enough to save Republicans this time around. QR code, grab it. That's how you can let your voice be heard.
All right, let's go ahead and take a look at your numbers on YouTube with the poll there online for all you folks who are streaming and you're voting there. Right now, we have about, 913 votes. I just refreshed, posted about 43 minutes ago. So will President Trump get the economy fixed by next year? Yes, 28% of you say that. No, 66% say no on this one. And 6% of you say maybe, but won't be enough to save Republicans. Are we going to do some comments with Big D?
Well, I think we should. How about you, Dave? You were set and ready to go?
I'm set and ready to go, sir.
Julian
Whitman says the president and his administration have been working every day to repair and fix the issues created by the last administration, so I truly believe that the economy will be higher on the stuff to get done list for 26. Ryan's Craig says Trump's only goal is to boost his economy, his family's economy, and the economy of those who are willing to pay to play. And finally, Michael Best, 7872, says this is not just a United States problem. The cost of living crisis and economies are affecting many other countries. A global recession seems to be coming. So as always, a lot of differing views. We love hearing from you guys, so keep the comments coming.
I like all of those comments, Celeste.
Oh,
except that last prediction that a global recession is on the way. Let's hope not.
No. The last recession was what, 07, 08, 08, yeah. That was pretty scary stuff.
Yeah,
So we're
it really
hoping
was.
for not a repeat of something like that. I want to give a couple of shouts out this morning.
Love
and it is for David Perry, who's on this morning. And we appreciate you, my friend. Thank you so much. And we also have, where is it? Left hand. We have a left-handy on here, and that's a part of his...
left hand 8, I think.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. That person is on our chat this morning as well. So we're glad that you guys are here.
Oh,
thank you. Thank you.
So glad. If you're new, welcome to the friendliest chat online, and be sure to tell us where you're watching from.
Yeah.
With the new viewer in New Hampshire.
Yeah, it's
How
so
about
amazing.
that?
Left-handy.
Okay. Back in 2 minutes with Ron and Celeste. Well, we've had so many pictures of cold and snowy USA that it's nice to know at least somewhere, Celeste, there is still a beach that is not only nice enough to walk on, you got one person already in the swimming pool. I always wondered about people who go all the way to the beach and then they get in the pool.
I wonder if this is Maui. I don't know. Or maybe California. It's got a big beach.
Yeah, I was thinking Florida. It could
maybe
be any
Florida.
of those.
Maybe
Who knows?
Maybe Floribama.
Yeah, you know what, Celeste? I actually went to that right where Alabama meets Florida on the Gulf Coast. Mm-hmm. There's a town there called Orange Beach, Alabama, and it was like one of the most beautiful, kind of just perfectly white sandy beaches you ever want to see in your life in Alabama.
The only reason I know where this is because my sister was there on vacation and got me a coffee mug that said, I love Floribama. I've never been, but she said it's absolutely spectacular. She loved it. Quick shout out this morning to Louis Gonzalez. He says, Celeste, love your newscast with the Chicana vibe. Glad to bring it to you, my friend. And David Perry says, thank you for liking the red dress.
Oh, yes, Celeste.
I'm off next week, and so I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas.
Nobody ran that by me, but go ahead, Celeste, with your bragging.
And so this is what we're trying to do, bring in the Christmas vibe on the week before.
Well, you already brought your famous tamales in today.
Yes, I did.
Which normally is Christmas Day.
I may bring some in next week as well. We'll see.
You're amazing. Hey, there's a big event going on in downtown Phoenix. I mean, it's attracting thousands of people from all across the USA, and I'm talking about the TPUSA, Turning Point. Mm-hmm. And, we're hearing from a lot of people who are coming to Phoenix. Maybe it's the first time they've ever been here. Obviously, this is the time of year you want to be here.
Yeah.
And they are, for the first time, attending this event, and so glad to be there.
I think one of the numbers that TPUSA released was that 80% of the people who are attending were first-time attendees.
How about that?
And the event, I think, sold out at least a week beforehand.
Here's what some of them were saying. Listen to this.
I've never even been to an America Fest before. I'm speechless because of how big it is.
Seeing Charlie give his life for what he believed in, just encourages me to be more fearless.
It's a tribute to everything that he's done, and we want to be sure that we're part of continuing that path that he has set for all of us.
I just had to come out here because of what happened.
Love what Charlie did. I love politics. I'm very interested in it.
Getting to see all the big speakers, meet and greets, and of course Nate Smith tonight.
Came to hear all the speakers, and this is my third event actually.
Okay.
So I've loved coming here.
So you've been here before. What keeps you coming back?
I think it's just the community and how lively it is. It's super nice being surrounded by like-minded people, and the energy is always just so great.
Well, as a matter of fact, the speakers today include reality TV stars Todd and Savannah Chrisley, Vivek Ramaswamy, and Dr. Ben Carson. So some pretty big names. And then we do know the Vice President J.D. Vance is going to be here to wrap things up on Sunday. So it seems like it's a pretty big lineup of conservative names.
Yeah, there was a post, I think, that Fox News posted on Instagram yesterday, and it was of the event and Erica Kirk on stage. And she was hoping and saying, hey, let's get J.D. Vance elected for the president in the next election. So I think maybe the conservative side of the ticket, I guess they're already trying to line up who could be following President Trump.
Well, but did you see the comments from AOC yesterday where she said, if that's who they're going to nominate, I'm going to beat him.
Well, yeah, I
could beat him in the race for the presidency.
A lot of the talks are that she could be in the running on the Democratic side.
Well, she polls really well. Holy cow. That would be
We'll see what happens.
Amazing. Hey, one other quick story here, and then we have a guest you're going to want to stay tuned for. The headline on this one is, it's the dog versus the IRS. There is a lady in New York who is suing the Internal Revenue Service saying, hey, my dog is a legal dependent. Let me put my dog down on the tax forms.
Oh, my goodness.
The IRS currently views pets as people's property, but not like individual people. The lawyer, by the way, the dog goes by the name of Finnegan. The lawyer says, look, this pet fits every IRS requirement. He has no income. Because he's a dog.
Oh.
He lives with her full time. Oh, and costs her $5,000 a year. I don't think he's specifically costing you $5,000? I think you decided you wanted to spend $5,000 on your dog.
I know. This is a tough one because a lot of people consider their dogs their children.
Yes, I know.
You know?
Uh-huh.
And I don't judge.
No, it's
I'm like,
no judging zone around here.
This is a no judgment zone. So if you love your pet that much, and that's your choice.
Hey, Celeste, there are a lot of people out there online who have big followings because they're longevity gurus, I guess you could say. And we have somebody today who I think is going to be as qualified as anybody to give us all advice. Here he is. It's Dr. Pablo Prichard, who joins us from where? Doc?
From here, from Phoenix.
Yeah, from Phoenix.
Nice. Okay, speak right into that microphone so we can hear you nice and loud and clear. Longevity has really become a huge topic. I mean, you have these people out here who talk about it on a regular basis, podcast, Instagram post, etc. And you can tell by the thousands, if not millions of followers that people are really into it nowadays. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think there's an awakening of health. I think Americans especially have seen a decline in their own health. They've seen an increase in chronic disease. They've seen an increase in cancer, including among younger Americans. And so I think that makes people start to wake up and say, hey, there's something going on here that what are the solutions to this problem?
You mentioned solutions. I think it's hard for a lot of people to take in all of the information that's floating.
Absolutely.
It's like, okay, what do I eat? Where do I sleep? What am I using on my body? What type of lotion? When do I work out? How long do I work out? Where do we begin if we want to slow that aging process?
Well, I think we have to begin with understanding what aging actually is. Because most people think of aging as I just grew a year older, right? And so I've aged a year. But if you think about it, think about people that you know, people who age almost nothing, and then people who age rapidly, even the same amount of time that's been given. So 1 year goes by, one person ages rapidly, one person barely you notice anything, right? And why is that? The reason for that is because time really has little to do with aging.
Okay.
What aging actually is how much damage you're accumulating during that period of time, not time itself. So that's a huge distinction, and that's why people get confused as to why am I aging? Is it anything that I can even do something about?
Well, what are the 2 or 3 or 4 things that are top of the list in terms of how they are damaging themselves?
For Americans, I put together a kind of a cohesive plan of how to limit and reverse as much of the damage as possible. And the way I conceive of it, and I think analogies are really important for people to understand things, and especially when an analogy hits really well. So if you think of a decathlon, right? You have the decathlete, the world's greatest athlete, right? They have 10 different events that they have to do, right? From the javelin throw to the shot put, the hurdles, the sprints, all of those things, right? But the decathlete who wins is not the person who throws the javelin the furthest. It's not the person who sprints the fastest. It's not the person who pole vaults the highest. It's the person who is the most competent at all 10 events.
Well, give me 3, because we have limited time. Give me 3 important takeaways, changes people can make.
Okay. So the importance is to understand where your deficits are in those 10 different events. So there's 10 events of decathlon, which is the 10 different events of longevity, right?
Yeah.
So some people are great at exercise. Yes. Some people are great at sleep, right?
Yeah.
Some people are great at their nutrition. Maybe they have a deficit in their toxins accumulation, or maybe they have a deficit in stress or in
their gut.
Their microbiome is very important.
Celeste, always with the gut talk.
I love probiotics. I really do. I feel like when my gut is healthy, I sleep better.
Right.
I started doing the infrared sauna, and I feel like when I sweat, I sleep better. I think there's something to what you're talking about here.
Now, when you're sweating, are you wiping that sweat off?
Yes.
Good. That's perfect.
Oh, okay, good.
Yes, because, so there's so many just little intricacies of all these things that are so important for people to understand and get educated about. For instance, in your topic of sauna, right?
Yeah.
Everybody thinks, oh, sauna is great and healthy. What you're doing is you're actually sweating out toxins, and your pores are open when you're hot like that. But if you're not wiping that sweat off, guess what's happening? You're reabsorbing some of those toxins because those pores are open. So what you were doing is actually perfect, wiping that sweat off. Take that towel with you into the sauna, right?
Yeah.
But to answer your question, Ron, the most important things. So looking at where your deficits are, that because if you have a something that you're really, really good at, like exercise or nutrition, then the tendency is to really go after what you're already good at.
Lean in there.
Exactly. But you should be doing the absolute opposite, right? Because of the whole idea of being competent at all 10 events, you should look where your deficits are and lean into those, because you can make the most progress on your deficits. You're going to make minimal progress where you're already good.
Interesting.
Okay, so how do we cut stress? How do we get better sleep? And how do we improve our diets?
Well, that is a long conversation.
How much time do you have?
So I mean, every one of those things has to be dealt with individually, right? Cutting stress has a lot to do with not just work-life balance, but also how well you're sleeping, how well your companionships are, your relationships.
I love that part of it because those are so important.
Yeah. There was a big study from Harvard, the human study of longevity and development, and in that study they looked at two different groups of people. One were Harvard students, so kind of like a very select group of
smart, young,
right? Exactly, and then the other group, equally important, were just random people. Yeah, right, not Harvard students, right? And they looked at their longevity over nearly 100 years now, because this study started in the early 1900s, and they were looking for the one thing that was common. Doesn't matter what your socioeconomic status was, your intellect, your IQ, all of those things. The one thing that was seen as the biggest longevity factor was the strength of your relationships.
Oh, yeah.
So they looked at those students and then looked at their spouses, all the children, and then generation after generation looking at that. So,
I love that. I love that because it means that, like, what happens in your circle matters.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a quick break coming up. Can you stick around for about 2 more minutes after that? Okay, we will continue right here on Fox 10 Talks. How about de-stressing at the beach there?
Let's do it, Ron.
Oh, man. With that certain someone in a relationship?
Oh, I'm not coming then, Ron.
Okay, we are live with Dr. Pablo Prichard, slowing down the aging process. Just in terms of, I'm sure everybody has been very interested in everything you had to say. What would be the key one or two things that so relationships. Yeah, that's a lot of that has to do with communication, in terms of improving the relationship. Yeah. Beyond relationships, give us one or two more.
So toxins is a massive one. And so toxins are those things that are all around us. It's almost hard to avoid. Looking at our water, looking at our air, looking at our food, all the pesticides on our food and how to get them out. But also the detox. Detox is so important too. And I'm not talking about like some detox tea. I'm talking about your natural body detox processes from your liver and your kidney and how to support that and make that greater. Because toxins, you're asking what are the things that really affect you? Toxins affect you at almost all aspects of the aging, cellular aging cycle. So toxins are massively important. Sleep, massively important, and stress. So obviously exercise, obviously nutrition, obviously, your hormones, all of those things are super important. But if you're going to nail me down to just three, I would say stress, because inflammation that's related to toxins and sleep, those are definitely one of the biggest ones.
You said no detox tea, but what is the process to detox?
So you can do all kinds of things to help your liver detox, help your kidneys detox, the sauna, that thing that you were talking about earlier, helping your skin and detox. So some of the things, first of all, reducing how many toxins you're accumulating. That's huge because it's all about a toxic load, right? So the less toxins you're accumulating, the better. And then how do you remove them? Everything from supporting your gut lining, because the more permeable your gut is, the more toxins flow through into your system. Oh, wow, okay. So there's certain ways to do that. Also, figuring out how to, use some things like cruciferous vegetables, sulforaphane, that basically increases your liver's detoxability. Like
broccoli or something like that.
Glutathione, yes, all of those things. And then, obviously hydration and then exercise. And so there's a lot of ways to naturally detox. Yeah. And these are things, accessibility is super important to the general population, right? So things that anyone can do at home, those are the type of things that I want to educate people on.
Well, Celeste, ask me what I'm writing down here.
What are you writing down?
I'm writing down that we need the doc to come in on a lot more frequent basis.
I know.
A lot of knowledge to share.
Good stuff, Dr. Prichard. Thank you so much.
Come in and see us again.
Great. I will.
Great stuff,
Thank
Dr.
you.
Pablo
Thank
Prichard.
You.
Okay, so there's a different way that you can kind of de-stress, I feel. And Celeste brought this picture in today. Celeste, I wanted to ask you about this because I think that the whole human connection, and I try to make it a point when somebody stops and says, "Hey, Hooner," or whatever, to find out about them and get a little bit more of their story. And this got us on this whole topic.
It did. So I was at the grocery store yesterday looking for the meat that I mentioned this earlier in the show. Yeah. Bashas has a big sale on their meat. We're making tamales. Yeah. And so I'm sitting there looking at the meat, and Fred and Helen, they're just kind of looking over, and I'm like, "Hi," and they're like, "Oh my gosh. We watched you this morning." Nice. And so they're so sweet. They watch us every single morning. I met them in the meat department at the grocery store. Sure. And they were just so sweet. And she said, "God bless you. Merry Christmas." Yeah. And so I just wanted to say thank you to both of you for watching, and thank you to everyone else, especially during this Christmas season.
Hey, Bella joins as well. Bella, you have got to explain this picture and these people, because what a story.
I will. So when I was in Tucson, I had many lovely viewers, and this group of people, I was out at dinner with my church group, and it was the gentleman on the very right's birthday, and they recognized me and they said hello. And if you look at the picture on the very right, that's Megan and I, Megan Spector.
Okay.
On the air.
On the air, yes. So we were weekend co-anchors, and we matched every single show, and that was our thing. Yeah. So I saw these guys guys on a Friday night, and they went, well, what are you and Megan going to wear tomorrow? And I said, we're going to wear navy blue. So they woke up the next morning for our 5 a.m. show super early. They got dressed in blue, and then they emailed that photo of us. That photo that they took. I don't know how they took it with a tripod.
That's so amazing.
And they emailed it to me. So
that
was my favorite interaction.
Yeah.
Cool.
So cool.
I mean, it could have just been a real quick, hey, nice to meet you. But you get into the conversation, just like Syleste had with that beautiful couple. That's so cool, Bella. That is so cool. Let me give you, for instance, here on, let me see which one of these. Yeah, this guy here. Okay, so last weekend, Renee and I were up in the Great Northwest. And we, by the way, the hotel we stayed in, a few hours after I took this picture, was hit by a power outage because of the 80-mile-an-hour winds they've been having up there. But while the lights were on, they had a little kind of a book nook, and I'm looking at these books, and I can hear this fella behind me, and he's like, that one book you're looking at there is really interesting. And I could have gone two ways. I could have been like, okay, great, I'll grab it and go read it. Instead, I get into a conversation with Mr. Bottles. And here's he had the most interesting life story. And he's now going to come to Phoenix as a result of our conversation.
Cool.
So he's from Seattle. They live on Bainbridge Island.
Beautiful.
He and his wife put together a community Christmas party every year. And then when they're done, they go take a couple of days to rest and recoup at this hotel in Cannon Beach, Oregon. But the whole thing that was so interesting, I think, about what he had to say was that he was a super successful businessman in Seattle, but he decided he loved life on the sea. So was that what's a marriage at sea?
So did he get married? Like at sea? Is that how? And then it says it's a true story of love.
Well, I don't know.
Obsession and shipwreck.
I don't think, maybe, wait,
Angel
I don't
down.
know what is happening
Angel
here.
down.
Okay, hold on. Anyway, back to, I think I hit another.
Angels are not down, Ron. This is the Christmas season. Angels are alive and well. Yes, they are,
you know what?
Bells?
We're importing pics for the next hour.
Mother Emmanuel.
Tell me where I can find those pics, Brian. Okay, here's the fella. Anyway, he decided, you guys, that even though he lived on Bainbridge Island, and you had to go get in line for a ferry, and it's kind of expensive. It's like $20 each way to get to downtown Seattle. He decided he was going to take his own little motorboat across the Puget Sound.
Whoa!
Every day. For years.
How long did that take him?
I didn't ask him exactly, but if you count up the amount of time you got to wait in line, and if you miss a ferry because there are too many people, you got to wait for the next one. He took his little motorboat and putted across. I don't know how little it was, but it was like
smaller than a ferry.
Yeah, exactly. And he would dock it on the Seattle side where he kept his truck.
Right next to Ivers, where the seagulls come in.
If he wanted to get a 5-piece before heading back,
extra sauce.
What an interesting life he has lived, and because we're talking books, I told him you have got to come to Phoenix, Arizona if you love books. And be here in February for the VNSA.
So
one
he's
of the greatest used book sales in the world. He's like, I'm going.
So it's funny you mentioned people coming. Bells, this was before I think you started. Ron and I used to do a Facebook Live when we were anchoring together at 4:30 a.m. years ago. We would go Facebook Live every morning.
Okay.
And we had some viewers that eventually came and visited us here at the station. Remember Svetlana?
Oh, yeah.
And her husband?
Sure.
We're still friends on Instagram.
Fritz and Svetlana. Yeah.
And they came and they made a visit to Ron and I. And I think there's something really unique when you create community. And and we meet a lot of you and in the social media world or on YouTube. It's pretty neat.
One other quick story I was going to share. I'm going to try. There's his picture. So the other day I'm hanging out with Mason and Riley, my grandkids. We like to go to Safeway to the deli counter there. They have great chicken tenders, by the way.
Yum.
And then a huge candy selection for Riley. But I get to chatting with the fellow that you see there on the right, and what a life story he has. His name is Mark with a
Hi, Mark.
Mark with a C.
Mark with
and
a C.
he moved here from Chicago and, now watches Fox 10 and watches the podcast and all of this, the streaming show. And when he got here with the kidney issues that he was dealing with, he just got hooked up with the right doctor and the people at Mayo Clinic, and he didn't know how things were going to end up for him in Chicago. And he did get the kidney transplant once he moved here.
What a
He's
blessing.
3 years into living with his new kidney, and life could not be brighter for Mark.
Aww.
And so I'm like, can I share your story to give people some hope, if you're on the list for a possible transplant? He's like, please do.
But he already had the transplant.
Three years ago.
3 years ago, yeah.
And that's why I say he's 3 years in now with his new kidney, and life is never
He
been
looks
sweeter
happy
for
and
him.
healthy.
He does.
Yeah.
He looks great.
Yeah,
Oh,
for sure.
congratulations,
Yeah,
Mark.
we love meeting so many of you when we're out and about. Bells, if you're out at a dinner or restaurant, and Ron and I at a grocery store or wherever we are. So we hope you guys have a very Merry Christmas. Again, I'm off next week, so I just wanted to make sure I said that. And thank you all for hanging with us and connecting.
People always say, am I bothering you? And I'm like, no. The opposite would be nobody's watching our channel anymore, and you wouldn't have any idea.
We are
Right?
grateful that you guys are part of the community and watch every morning.
Bella, how has this first year gone for you working with us here at Fox 10? Do you ever say to yourself, geez, I wish I was back in Tucson?
Yeah, do you go home crying? Or are you like, oh, these two?
No, I miss the little community of the viewers and the sweet stories, of course, but I just love it here. And I know I'll build that up eventually, but I just love working with you guys. I love our Fox 10 Talkers family. The comments always make my day. So this is my favorite part of my shift.
And we
is
got
this
good
morning
Mexican food here, too, in the Valley.
Yeah, we do.
Yes.
Especially
yes, we
when
do.
Celeste brings in her world-famous tamales.
I can't wait.
We're going to have some in a second.
Yeah, that's so great. Okay, well, we are going to make way now for Ty and Anita.
Yes.
Are you guys doing a book club segment today? Is that what it's all about?
Education and reading.
Oh, educational reading.
Oh, wow. Well, learn
Well,
something new in the
look.
new year.
The New York Times Best Books of the Year. That's
Oh.
great because we're the more lowbrow show at 10. This is where the IQ elevates.
We're more the audiobook type. We're more the
podcast.
We're more the podcast, the audiobook type.
That's for
But
sure.
everybody's got their own little thing that they like to dabble in. You know, maybe you're a baker or a painter, and you do your thing.
Or a tamale maker.
Thank you, tamale
All right.
maker.
Have a good weekend, everybody. Be sure to stick around for the next hour. And I just have one thing I got to say.
Yes, Ron.
Go Bobcats.
Who are the Bobcats again?
Brian, Montana State.
Go Sun Devils. Merry Christmas, everyone. Beautiful shot here that we leave you with. Ty and Anita making their way to the streaming studio on this Friday.
Let's find out. Let's see.
All right, welcome on in. Happy Friday, everybody. Fox 10 Talks continuing here at 11 o'clock. And another day, another jam-packed show.
Another dollar.
Another dollar,
Another
too.
day, another dollar.
There you go.
We want to talk about some important things, including education. And reading is kind of, I think, the
theme for today.
The theme for today, right? So welcome our first guest. Good morning to you.
Rebecca Bush.
Yeah.
Ms. Bush, thanks so much for coming in. Give us kind of a brief rundown of who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so I'm what's called a certified academic language therapist, which is a fancy title for basically I know a lot about reading. So whenever kids are having a hard time learning to read, they get off track, that's where I come in. So I work with kids and families.
So the toughest part is they're in school, whether it's homeschooling or they're going to school and they're on this great schedule and they're reading and they're excited, and then they have a break, whether it's holiday break or a summer break, and maybe they kind of fall off that schedule and they don't read as much.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I love about the holidays is that break in routine, right? But for kids, especially if we're talking about neurodivergent conditions or learning differences, they thrive on routine. So if we're going to have a break in routine, we're going to have anxiety, we may have overwhelm, we're probably not going to be reading as much, but thankfully there are definitely things we can do to help.
So let's jump into it. What are some of the things that we can do, speaking maybe as parents, what they can do to make sure those kids kind of stay on track?
Yeah, so if we think about reading, it actually connects to listening. So if we're listening to stories, I mean, even if you're got a 10-hour drive to grandma's.
Can I back up real quick? Because I've heard that before. Like the kids don't actually have to be physically reading a book, but being read to is beneficial just as much almost.
It is, yeah. I mean, of course, we do want them to have the own book in their hands, but listening, speaking, reading, writing are all connected. And actually, we acquire them in that order. So if we're building the listening and speaking, it's going to have a knock-on effect with reading and writing as well.
Gotcha. Okay. So I'm sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to throw that in there.
No, that's a great question.
It's better than nothing.
Yes, yeah. And the great thing about, audiobooks, if you're driving to grandma's house, you've got a 10-hour drive, put on an audiobook, you've got vocabulary, you've got background knowledge, you've got all these things that they can be acquiring while listening to the story.
I always loved getting new books for Christmas. It didn't necessarily have to be under the tree or in the stocking, but that's what kept me reading all break long. I loved it.
Yeah. I mean, if you have a used bookstore or even a library, if you go, let the kids check out what they want. And sometimes even if it's maybe a little bit beyond their level, but you can read it together, it's going to keep that interest going.
And let's talk about kind of what are some of the other things that parents might be able to do just to kind of make sure that they're kind of staying in check. Because I mean, we talk about summer, how summer, sometimes those kids get that backward slump because they're really not engaging their mind. Unfortunately, the tablets probably come out and things like that. But even just a short, week or two winter break can also have the same effect.
It can. And one of the things that we often forget about winter break too is all of these different things that come out. So if we're talking about dyslexia or autism or anything like that, a lot of times there's sensory overwhelm that comes with it. And the holidays, we've got new places, we've got new people, we've got new smells, we've got music everywhere. And so we want to keep that in mind. So if we really are feeling so overwhelmed with that, honestly, sometimes it's okay for that reading to take a backseat so that they can have that break, stay happy, stay positive, all the things we want them to do.
Can we talk about parents? I think you mentioned like everyone's busy and parents can get distracted too. They're doing the shopping, they're doing the cooking, maybe they're going to some holiday parties. Maybe they forget to remind their kids to read or remind their kids. How can parents put that on their list of to-dos, maybe even prioritize it?
You can, so again, listening, speaking, reading, writing, all connected, right? So we can look at writing with some of these low stakes writings. So thank you cards after the holidays, Christmas cards,
those are great
shopping to-do lists. Yeah, it doesn't have to be.
That's a great idea. Have them put the list together.
Exactly.
Give them a pen and paper and say, hey, we're going to make a list for Christmas dinner.
Exactly.
This is what and then maybe even go to the store and read the labels. Or,
Or they make a menu, and they get to decorate it. There's all kinds of fun ways that we can incorporate the reading and the writing without it being a big deal.
Can we talk about kind of emulating? My mom and dad were both avid readers, still are to this day, but I always saw them reading. And to me, I was like, well, if they're reading, then I need to be reading. How important is that to kind of, I guess, show that behavior to kids? Like, look, mom and dad like to read. They like to delve into a good book. How important is that for kids to see that?
Yeah, 100%. Modeling is so important, right? I mean, kids are programmed to look up to us as adults, right? That's how their brains work. They're looking at us for everything, how we dress, how we talk, how we act, how we read.
Sure.
So if the whole family is making a big deal of we're going to sit down and have that book, we're going to put the phones and the tablets away, then they're going to get in there as well. The one thing,
maybe do an hour of reading and then watch a Christmas movie.
Yeah, you can break it up. Or even, you know, one thing, if we're talking specifically about dyslexia, we have to remember that genetic component. So if a parent has it, it's about 50-50 that the kid does.
Really?
So if the kid's having a hard time reading, it could be that the parent is as well. So I never want parents to feel like, oh my gosh, I have to read. I have to read to my kids. You can be looking at books and talking about the pictures. You can be listening to the audiobook and pausing and talking about it. You can even be watching movies and talking about the characters.
And you know what else? Recipes. Everyone loves to bake over the holidays. You have to read the recipe.
Yeah, and that's bring in the math with that too, right?
Yeah.
That was where I was like, I was a great reader. Math.
This is why we do this for a living. We're both still very avid readers. I finally downloaded my Kindle onto the phone and everything, so I love it. How do people get a hold of you to get more information and some good tips?
So I'm on Instagram, Dyslexia Rebecca. There's also my new book that's out, Dyslexia and Your Newly Diagnosed Child. And my website is leadchanges.com.
Awesome.
Rebecca, thank you so much for coming in. We appreciate it. We know that you're on vacation here, so thank you for making a little time to kind of swing by and talk to us about this important topic.
Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, Happy
Make sure to
Holidays.
put the links up. Thank you so much.
All right, well, we're talking about books and reading and how important it is, and that leads us right into our next guest here this morning. We have Gilbert Cruz with the New York Times. He is one of the book editors there. Mr. Cruz, good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Good morning.
Hi, Gilbert. Okay, so you compiled a list of top 10 because of time purposes. We're going to go over the top 3, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct. Well, we're going to talk about 3 from that top 10 list, which is a list that we compile at the New York Times Book Review after reading, collectively hundreds and hundreds of books over the course of the year.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you. Can we start at the very beginning real quick? How did you become a book editor, Gilbert? I think that's kind of a fascinating job.
Oh God, how much time do we have? I have been a journalist for a couple decades now, focused primarily on arts journalism. I used to be the editor of the culture section here at the New York Times, but I've always been a reader from the time, I remember being 10, 11 years old and carrying around a big fat Stephen King novel, 1,000 pages long. And so when this job became available a few years ago, because our previous editor was moving on to a new opportunity, I leapt and I applied, and for some strange reason, they gave me the job. I think my qualifications are primarily, I'm a reader. You need to be a reader in order to work at a place like this, where I and my fellow editors are, as I said, between, the 20 or something of us are reading hundreds of books over the course of the year.
I'm kind of jealous. Ty and I are avid readers as well. Do you have a genre that you love? Or do you just look at everything? Obviously, for work, you have to read everything.
Sure. I have to look at everything. But the fact that I mentioned Stephen King, I think, gives you a sense that I'm into, horror and sci-fi and fantasy and stuff like that. One of the, most fun books I read this year was a horror novel called The Buffalo Hunter Hunter by an author named Stephen Graham Jones. So I'm always going to sort of trend in that direction, even though I have to read across all sorts of genres.
I'm branching out in my genres. I just started the new Andy Weir book, the Project Hail Mary.
Oh, yeah. That is going to be a big movie adaptation next year.
That's what I heard. Ryan Gosling, I think.
Ryan Gosling.
Yeah.
Amazing and funny trailer. It's a very popular book. People love Andy Weir, author also of The Martian, which was made into a very popular.
That's right.
We've got about 3 minutes left in our interview. Do you want to name those titles?
Well, here's the first one.
Yeah, sure. So A Marriage at Sea by Sophie Elmhurst. This is a piece of nonfiction. We have a lot of big books on our list. This one is nice and slim. It's less than 300 pages, but it tells an amazing story in those 300 pages. It is the true story of a British couple in the 1970s who decided that they wanted to leave England and move to New Zealand. They were going to do this by having a boat built over several years and then sailing that boat basically most of the way around the world.
Wow.
They made it pretty far. They made it to the Pacific Ocean when a whale smashed into their boat, sunk it, and they had to survive in a dinghy and a life raft.
Wow. And this is a true story?
It is a true story.
Oh, I'm going to have to get that. I'm typing it into my phone right now as we speak.
All right, here's the second one, Gilbert. There is no place for us.
This is a very serious book, but I think it's worth reading. This is another nonfiction book. This is a book essentially about the working homeless. Do you know what the working homeless is? I don't know that I had necessarily heard that term before. It is essentially someone who holds a job, but because of various reasons is not able to actually hold down a home because rents are too high, because of other circumstances. This author, Brian Goldstone, focuses on 5 families in Atlanta, Georgia, and really got into their lives over an extended period of time to sort of write about the ways in which various systems are set up against people who, are working, who are functioning and enthusiastic members of society, but are not able to find a place like the rest of us are lucky enough to have.
This is also nonfiction?
A moving book. It's an infuriating book, but I think it's a very important book.
All right. Last but not least, the director.
So this is fiction. Those first 2 are nonfiction. This is a piece of historical fiction. So if you know anyone in your life who likes historical fiction or stories set during World War II, this is one for them. It's historical fiction, but it's based on a real life person. That person is G.W. Pabst, who is a famous silent film director in America. When the book opens, the sound era has come into Hollywood. He finds himself a little bit out of favor in the new Hollywood. He goes back to Austria, where he's from, to check in on his mother. It's the worst timing because that is right when the Third Reich, the Nazis, have taken over, and he is caught when the borders are closed. And essentially, he is made to work as a film director for the Nazi regime. It's a book about making art, making movies, what it means to be complicit, in an authoritarian government. That all sounds very serious, but this is a book that I just went through like that. It is so well written.
Sounds
Gilbert,
fascinating.
That was going to be my next question. Less than a minute. Do you read the entire book when you're going through these?
A lot of books I and my fellow editors sample or read into, but for books like this, books that are on our top 10 list, absolutely, we all have to read the full book. It'd be irresponsible of us to say these.
There you go.
Awesome.
Gilbert, real quick, how do folks find the New York Times list that you guys put out?
Just go to the New York Times Book Review. Just Google top 10 books of the year, NYT. There are many different ways, but you should, come straight to us.
There you go.
Appreciate it.
There you go. Yes.
Thank you. Happy holidays.
We'll have to have you back, Gilbert. That was fun.
Thank you. To you as well. Bye.
Have a great one. All right. Isabella and Brian, they're going to be joining you next. Anita and I are going to take a little break.
Happy holidays.
Thank you, Gilbert. That was awesome.
Tell me back.
little switcheroo. Anita and Ty went to go take a break, so now you're joined by Brian.
Hey.
And
Justin, J. Lum.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to be with you guys.
Good to be with you too.
Look at us dorks with these things on and the beautiful hair. We can't mess with that.
I was waiting until the last minute to put
I
it
don't
on.
blame you. I don't blame you.
But we are wearing headphones because we are going to show a package that Justin just put together.
Mhm.
Really good. Lots to talk about. Justin, do you want to kind of tease into what we're going to talk about?
Well, we're working on this investigation regarding an officer with White Mountain Apache Police who we all reported on back in October because she was cited for shoplifting. Some people are like, no big deal. Some people are like, whoa, that's, a law enforcement officer here that's accused of stealing at Walmart for an amount of $70 worth. It started with a check on her records, and I saw, okay, the case has been dismissed. Why has this misdemeanor case been dismissed? And I find out from police that it's because they want to get more charges filed and basically resubmitted and recommended. So I'm like thinking that means that there's more incidents of this alleged shoplifting. And as we have already requested the evidence and we're getting that evidence, I know and I can see that there's going to be more video, more reports, because now instead of one incident, got 7.
Wow.
So I guess without further ado, we can take a look at last night's investigation.
Hey, Melissa, what were you thinking? I mean, I don't understand. Why would you put your career on the line for something foolish like this? You know what I mean? It's not worth it.
It's hard to hear Melissa Ward's response as she sits in the back of a Sholo cop car on October 6th.
Step out this way.
She's being cited for shoplifting, but according to police, this is much more than petty theft. Let's take you back to where it started, Walmart in Sholo, where a police officer speaks to a captain for the White Mountain Apache Police Department, Ward's boss.
I've seen her on surveillance. She looks like a shoplifter.
Yeah.
She's behaving like a shoplifter.
This comes after loss prevention officers break down what they observed her doing on surveillance cameras. Here's Ward wearing her White Mountain Apache police uniform with a large tote in her shopping cart. The police report says a door associate stopped her when she tried to leave twice. After both interactions, she goes to customer service, turns around, and ultimately heads back to the exit, walking out of the store. Walmart's loss prevention officer stops her because she paid for only the tote, not what was inside.
Every single item she got, she opened the tote, put it in, and closed it every single time. And then when she got to the front end, the only thing she purchased was the tote.
When questioned by Sholo police, Ward says she's there to buy candy for White Mountain Apache PD's Halloween event.
Then she claims she only came here to buy candy for the PD for their trick or treat. None of this is candy. When were you going to get the candy then?
I was going to get them probably at the same time. I was going around to make candy usually melts. I didn't want to put it in my car right away. So I was just going to get it on my way out or come back in.
Okay.
I guess it makes sense.
Police believe Ward's story starts to change as she says she lost her keys.
I'm looking for my keys.
Okay.
So what ended up happening was I went over. I'm supposed to get 2 totes. So I ended up grabbing 1 tote and I put some stuff in there and then I got a phone call. Okay. So somebody was letting me know we had a family member pass away this month.
Ward explains she was flustered by her phone call.
But here's the deal. You did a crime today.
I know it doesn't look good.
No, it's illegal. It's not that it doesn't look good. It's shoplifting.
That was not my intent.
But loss prevention officers told police this wasn't an isolated incident. They revealed 6 other shoplifting-related incidents between August 27, 2025 and September 30th, 2025. Surveillance footage shows Ward entering Walmart 3 times during a couple hours in September. Police say she stole personal care products, dog food, and Halloween candy, totaling nearly $600 in value, concealing the items in a tote. In August, more surveillance footage of Ward walking out of Walmart with household products, gift wrapped, and Lego sets, allegedly using a tote, yet again, to shoplift. Investigators also believe Ward made fraudulent returns during her previous visits. Surveillance video shows her making returns for the candy and glow sticks she had just taken from the shelves, allegedly presenting the items as the ones she previously purchased earlier that day. Over several incidents, police say Ward stole nearly $1,200 between merchandise and cash. That's why Show Low PD asked for the initial case to be dismissed, and now the Navajo County Attorney's Office is reviewing nearly a dozen potential charges, including shoplifting, fraudulent schemes, and organized retail theft.
Why you had the Walmart prior and all that, bad decisions, why you did that stuff.
I wouldn't say bad decisions, but...
That's not a good decision to shoplift.
Right, I understand.
Hey, Melissa.
And I want to say that we reached out to Melissa Ward, left a voicemail asking her for comment on these cases. We've not heard back. And also AZ Post, Peace Officer Standards and Training Board, says that, they have a case open on her certification. So at some point, we're gonna find out more on what happens to her peace officer cert. And she has worked at Show Low PD in the past several years ago in the Navajo County Sheriff's Office, but we couldn't find any other misconduct cases. So this all seems very new. This is what we have on record now, 7 incidents.
Okay. Wow. And she is a detective, and she went to Walmart that probably has more cameras per square foot than any store on earth.
Detective Sergeant on paid administrative leave. So we also need to find out and follow up with the White Mountain Apache Police Department what's going on. Obviously she is innocent until proven guilty. Remember, charges still haven't even been filed. Wow. But now the Navajo County Sheriff's Office has all of this evidence. You just saw a portion of that. I mean, what we got and obtained through the records request was several surveillance videos and photos and timestamps, and basically breaking down the trail from August to September to October. And so, there's so many cameras to go through. And that, for me, that's the challenge. It can be a fun challenge to try to retrace the steps and fact check it with what police are describing to me in the police report.
Yeah.
Did you see the thing in the chat?
Yeah. Speaking of challenges, I have been going through the chat. One shout out to Buddha Sheep. He says, Justin Lum doesn't mess around. He digs in and works these cases.
I appreciate that.
And then another comment from Brandy the Bookworm. Her question is, how do you cope from all the stories that are heartbreaking and all the details? What case have you covered the most that was the most emotionally sad, infuriating, shocking that you've covered?
Well, first question to how I cope. I think just, Brian, we've been doing this for a long time. You've been doing it much longer than me. You just you refresh, and it's hard. Don't get me wrong. Every story is different, and some are just extremely sad. But I think we just have to, that's what being a professional is, right? You try not to let it affect you too much. Yeah. And there's also this, we're going to go after the next story or the next project and investigation. So your mind, you compartmentalize these things, but you do need to have some sort of empathy and compassion so that when you do enter these situations, you know how to approach them. The other question about the saddest story, of course, a lot of people know about the Lori Vallow case. I mean, that one takes the cake as far as covering it for so long, for 5 years, and just the tragedy of 2 children being murdered and discarded like that by their own mother and her husband, and then the other people that were hurt and other deaths that were involved in that case. So I think that just took a lot of the emotional turmoil, because it never seemed to end for so long. So that one for sure. But there've been a lot of just very hyper local tragedies. I mean, covering the general assignment beat on Nightside when I was here, a lot of just murder follows and just senseless shootings, and talking to people who literally have just had their worst nightmare reality 24 hours prior, and listening to them cry and trying to help them in any way, and then finding out even a year, 2 years later that no suspect has been arrested. So that's always hard.
Okay.
I've lost a few friends in the biz who were like, they couldn't really separate things, took it home with them, especially when kids are involved, and it just took a toll, and they're like, nah, I don't think I'm cut out for this.
I feel like too, I don't know, just getting older and having family, like getting more emotional or sensitive to stories, where before, as you're younger, you sort of, not that you're tougher or you don't care as much, you just don't feel it as much. I think as you get older, you find you have more to lose. You know, life is more precious. You've lost people along the way, and you've experienced terrible things as well. So some of these stories, you know, you'll watch it back and you'll be like, wow, this was, you start to feel a little emotion yourself. And that's when, you know, it's like, okay, I'm human. I think it's a good thing too. So, yeah.
You're absolutely right on. Yeah.
So well spoken. So well
Good stuff. Good story.
Thanks for all you do.
I appreciate it.
We should have Justin stick around and talk
Did we get our 13 minutes already?
Are we done? How much?
Oh, I'm going.
2.5 minutes left.
Well, yeah, I just went to a news conference, guys, about 2 scary home invasions in South Phoenix happened this fall, about a week apart. And children were involved as these families were taken hostage at gunpoint by masked men. The other sensational part about this is that at least 3 of the guys signed professional contracts with Major League Baseball teams and played minor league baseball. So that's eye-catching. I think they all knew each other from baseball. They all seem to be connected to probably the Dominican Republic, Caribbean area anyway. And so police just had that news conference and talked about, I think the youngest victim was a 10-year-old girl held at gunpoint with a gun.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean,
and when you're sitting in these press conferences, I think these are the stories immediately where it puts you in that relatable, what if that happened to me or my family? And it scares you for that moment because you're listening into, okay, how did this go down? And how could this possibly happen to anyone, including myself, that, you know, that I know?
100%. And both went. One was in the middle of the night, which is terrifying.
That's really scary.
Through the front door, banging their way in, I guess. And the second one, the guy was coming home at his front door, it sounds like, and they just rushed up from behind and went in with him and held the family hostage. So nobody eventually, through it all, was hurt, I think. They got away with, it's unclear how much they got away with. Looks like some property was stolen, but... And they had masks on almost all the time, but apparently at a couple of times, some faces were exposed, that along with surveillance video of the cars, and they were able to get them.
Yeah.
So we'll have that on our news at noon.
Then you hope the girl and the family's okay and how they move forward.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Good. Well, we look forward to that
All right.
coverage.
See you then.
Thank you. Thank you, Justin, for joining.
Appreciate it.
Happy Friday to all. And we have Ron and Desiree up next. You know,
and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
You're going to be gone?
Merry
You're
Christmas.
Be gone?
I'll be gone.
I'll be gone next week.
Happy holidays.
Yeah, happy holidays.
Who's going to be here? Who's running the show?
Dave.
Dave will be here. Big D will be here.
Big D. What will we do without him?
He'll be here to cover it all.
Good stuff. All right.
Well, hello, everybody, and this is the continuation of Fox 10 Talks, where we get you the news, the information, the conversation, and any time we have a story that is unfolding, that is a live breaking news story, we go to it as quickly as we can. You're looking live right now at Sky Fox Pictures coming in after reports of a shelter-in-place order being issued at actually one of the largest Air Force bases in the United States. If you're at all familiar with the West Valley, the Luke Air Force Base is literally the home to thousands of active duty military personnel. And there had been a report of someone spotted with a gun. There's no reports of any shots fired, anything along those lines, but it is such a large military installation, and frankly, in the day and age that we live in, you have to be on high alert at all times. And Des joins as well. What was that, Des?
Yeah, it's just better to be safe than sorry. Obviously, they just want to make sure that all of the families, all of the airmen, the community, and the surrounding area is safe. So, taking that extra step just to make sure.
Yeah. So, again, these are we'll kind of stick with these until we get some additional information from law enforcement. But there had been concerns that somebody had been spotted with a weapon. And again, no reports of any shots fired at this point. So that's the good news, that's for sure. But then, they can very quickly put one of those shelter-in-place orders. It's interesting. We had that mass shooting at Brown University. Now we're coming up on a week since that horrific event. And there were questions about how long it took the university. I had heard reports that it was almost 20 minutes before they put a shelter-in-place order after the reports of shots actually being fired. But it does look like they may be getting personnel on base to exit. I'm just looking at these pictures now. Again, you're looking live at Sky Fox Pictures. If you're just tuning in on YouTube or on the Fox local app, on Channel 45, that's Fox 10 Extra. It's Ron Hoon, Desiree Fluellen, and we are watching this story unfold. We hope that everything is going to be, that they'll be able to issue the all clear soon. But because of the shelter-in-place order, and it is quite possible that they're trying to just get people off of the campus itself there at Luke Air Force Base, because you can see a large number of vehicles that are leaving the scene. So Sky Fox zooming in. Now they're going to zoom out a little bit, give us a kind of a wider view. You've got really everything on that campus. Some of the most high-tech, high-dollar value aircraft in all of the United States Air Force arsenal. You've got residential out there. You've got a lot of command units, et cetera. And so it's such a large area to try to get a handle on everything that until we get the all clear, which hopefully will come pretty quickly, we are awaiting confirmation on that. And we hope that's exactly what we can report. But anytime you get a report like this, where there had been a report, shelter in place goes into effect, somebody had reportedly seen something suspicious, possibly a person with a weapon, no reports of shots fired. But yeah, Des, look at it. I mean, it's a city unto itself. If you've never actually been out there on base at Luke Air Force Base, it gives you a pretty good view of everything they've got out there.
Yeah, it's right. Like you said, it's a community in and of itself. So not only do they have to worry about our servicemen and women, but again, their families, their wives and spouses and their children who could potentially be on base. And you have to think these are some of the most trained individuals in the country in what they do, right? Their job is obviously very requires method and skill in the way they train and work. And you're seeing from these images here, it doesn't look like there's a big scramble. It looks like they are moving folks using a particular method. It doesn't look like there is a scramble here in the way they're doing and conducting this shelter in place. It's hard from these images, too, to tell where that active shooter may have potentially been. Obviously, we're taking a look at the whole base right here. And we hope to get some more of that information, where this potential shooter was spotted, what folks saw and first witnessed here as this unfolds. But yeah, I mean, and we already have, as this is unfolding, we have U.S. Senator Ruben Gallego already monitoring the situation, responding on X, telling the community that his team is monitoring reports of this active shooter at Luke Air Force Base. He wants to thank law enforcement, emergency crews for their swift response. When you get a report like this, they don't hesitate to jump into action and make sure everybody is safe, that they find this individual and contain whatever situation this may be.
So Luke Air Force Base is such an asset to our community. Not only does it employ literally thousands of people, but when it comes to the abilities of the pilots at Luke, they are well known. I mean, this is a facility that has for many years trained the F-16, the Fighting Falcon, but several years ago, the F-35 Lightning was announced as the replacement to the F-16, which, of course, those are both aircraft that are vitally important to our nation's defense. And it literally goes back about 100 years, named in honor of Frank Luke, a second lieutenant in the Air Force who was a Medal of Honor recipient and was considered one of the great flying aces of World War I, which was the very first moment in world history where aircraft were being employed to try to fight a military foe. Guy that was really considered a hero back here in his hometown. He was born in 1897, and it was always, I think, considered the perfect way to honor him, Luke Field. And Luke Air Force Base then is... as I say, it's just such a key military installation, the amount of training that goes on there. I love, a lot of people have continued to move out to that part of the West Valley, and you can hear those jets just screaming overhead when they're out there on those training missions. But I love how people who live in that area and are supportive of it, they call it, you know what that is?
And how large is the base?
You know what that is? That's the sound of freedom. And so, we do hear it out there quite a bit. Just to answer your question, Des, over 1,000 acres. In fact, the city bought it. Originally, it was being used as a training site for World War II, and the city bought it back in 1941, 1,441 acres. And it's so interesting because flying out of Sky Harbor until Luke runways were ready, pilots got 10 weeks of instruction until they could get that first graduating class in August of 1941. Think what was going on. We were in the height of World War II at that point. And then at that point, a young Barry Goldwater, who would go on to become one of the most prominent and beloved senators and iconic names in Arizona. He actually served as the director of ground training in those earliest days back in 1942. So do you know that they graduate fighter pilots? We actually don't talk a lot about everything they get accomplished there, but boy, I'm telling you, they graduate some 12,000 fighter pilots during World War II, and they have just continued to be probably the premier Air Force base in the nation when it comes to training our future fighting men and women who are going to be flying these aircraft.
Mm-hmm. And taking a look at some recent numbers, too, just to put into perspective how large the base is. Obviously, we just mentioned the acreage of the base, but right now, actively, there's about 5,200 active military service members on base. They have about 2,300 on reserve, and the civilian population is about 2,800 people. So you are obviously looking at a large base, as we have been speaking.
And we've just been given the news that the all clear has been issued. So plenty of concern out there when the first reports came in. That was at about 10:50 this morning. Our understanding is that as of about 18 minutes ago, they were able to issue the all clear. So that's a big relief. That's for sure, and we're glad that we could continue to follow that story for you. It was unfolding. Originally came in as a report of a possible active shooter, and then a report of shelter in place because of a report that somebody saw something suspicious. And Des, as we've been talking about, you just never can be too safe, too cautious in the day and age that we live in.
No, absolutely. And I was just thinking, too, how amazing that we have this platform, that we have Fox 10 Talks here, able to stream on YouTube continuously between our newscasts to be able to cover events like this and to let the community know exactly what is happening in their community as it's happening, as it's unfolding. And yeah, just so thankful, especially, this time of year. You don't want to see this any time of year,
right?
But especially this month and with Christmas next week, to get that all clear at this point in time is just a huge, huge blessing.
Yeah, that's really good perspective, Des. I mean, we are right in the midst of the holiday season, in the middle of Hanukkah. Christmas is coming up soon. By the way, we had that story. It's a new federal holiday. Is Christmas Eve now, December 24th.
And the 26th?
And the 26th, the day after Christmas. A lot of people are going to get a 3-day weekend around Christmas, which, of course, is, to a lot of people's minds, the biggest holiday of the year. So, we will, what we'll do now is take a break. We have plenty of other stories we do want to get to. We have plenty of people joining us online as well. So we appreciate you guys in the chat. Thanks for saying hi.
During the chat. Yeah, glad to have you guys with us today.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll take a break. And we do have a mystery cam, and it's a zoom in. Big D. Dave says, "How are you going to get this
on here?" So this is a good way to do it.
Okay, so here's what we got to do. We're looking so you can see which angle the solar panels are at. The breeze is only blowing Old Glory, I would say, at less than 10 miles an hour. So we know it's not the Northwest or Wisconsin.
There's shingles on that roof and solar panels.
Right.
But yet I'm wondering, is that like copper that is like mineralized?
Maybe it's
is that just a teal paint job?
Yeah, really. Some sort of avant-garde architecture.
That's the building.
We'll be right back. All right, everybody, welcome back. Some pictures are almost giveaways on our mystery cam. Others are a little more difficult.
This is a clear giveaway.
Yeah, sure it is.
I mean, you don't know where this is?
Because, like Brandy just said, Brandy's hilarious. She's like, I know exactly where this is. See her next post?
So sarcastic.
It's America. Of course. See?
I thought that was Canada.
Charles is saying, give me Charlotte, North Carolina for the win.
Okay.
I love how Darla and Donovan play together every day. So Donovan says it's Colorado, but Darla's feeling possibly Ohio or New Hampshire. By the way, Bella, was that you or Dave that just posted 17 likes already? Let's get 3 more. That's Big D, everybody. Okay, what kind of guesses do you guys have?
Oh, obviously it's somewhere cold.
The leaves are off the tree.
Naked branch.
It's a really good branch. No snow on the roof. Ooh, I don't know. I'll go with Brandy today. You want to go with Idaho, Brandy? I'll go Idaho.
Oh, okay, great. I think I'm going to go to Massachusetts. Bella, how about you?
Rhode Island.
We got a Rhode Island, a Massachusetts, and an Idaho. And here comes the answer.
Oh, wait, where is it?
Right here.
I was using this as a fan earlier. I misplaced it. Like at church.
See? Right?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay.
When the sermon runs 2 hours?
Yes.
I feel that.
Yes.
Okay, here we go.
It is Long Beach, New York.
Oh, is that so?
So none of us were right.
No.
So I wonder, is Long Beach, is it out on Long Island? Or as they like to say, if you're from New York.
It's like we have the New York expert right there.
Yeah, Long Island.
Well,
yeah.
I'm still far away from Long Beach. Probably Probably like a good 7-8 hour drive. Okay.
So there you go.
I wish we could see a little more Long Beach, but.
Yeah, right. Widen out. Hey, we invited Isabella. She covers a lot of stuff for us, that's for sure. And today it's a story that has been with us for literally years.
Yeah.
But we may be nearing the sort of the apex of this whole story, Bella. The DOJ is at any time now getting ready to release those Epstein files.
That's right. So, we've had this deadline that's been looming over, as you mentioned, for such a long time. And we know that the Justice Department is preparing to release something, some sort of, hopefully, all the files today. We're keeping a watch on that. We're monitoring it right now. But, the Department of Justice officials are saying that today we can expect records related to Jeffrey Epstein to be made public today. However, we do know that large portions of the material could be withheld under the Epstein Files Transparency Act, which was passed last month, which requires the government to release within 30 days all unclassified materials and possessions. So we'll see how that goes. And of course, you can expect us to provide more information on coverage on that later as the day develops. But yeah, we've been covering this for what seems like years.
It feels
months.
like the leaks have just kept coming and coming.
More surprises, more surprises. We're still seeing.
Finally, we're going to get it all out.
Yeah, that's the hope.
Yeah.
So.
Well, there's some headlines, too, that they're thinking they might not meet that deadline. So we'll see what happens by the end of the day.
We'll see. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Bella.
Welcome.
So, Des, your reports today from downtown Phoenix were mouthwatering. That bakery where you were at, it was amazing.
I'm not going to lie. I had a pastry.
Oh, nice.
It was so good.
Job.
Please put it up. I want to see.
Yeah.
I need to see.
It was the mango passion bliss, and it was really good. Yeah.
We don't judge, Des. We don't judge. In fact, you know what we do? You know what we do? We share. Here you go. Watch this, guys.
Good morning, you guys. It's right here in the heart of downtown. And, the proof is in the name. It's art. When you look at all of the pastries here in the casings. I asked Naaman, the owner and bakery behind all of these beautiful creations, I said, Naaman, how do you bring yourself to eat any of this? It just looks so stunning.
I know. These are created in the way so we can eat it with the eyes first, and then let your taste buds to the rest. So it's taste as amazing as it looks. That's what we are getting reviews about. All the pastries are very much balanced in sweetness. So like you can find in any other bakery store, like the sweetness is like too much. So that's what we try to balance out. There's gonna be flavors more and like sweetness at the minimum, right? So you don't feel like overly sugary things.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And we're seeing some really unique creations that you make here. What is this first one that we're seeing?
So this is our #1 seller desserts. It's a mango bliss. It has a mango passion mousse. It has a layer of a chunky mango insert. So once you bite into it, it just melts into your mouth. And this is a gluten-free cookie sablé. Oh. So it's gluten-friendly too.
Okay. And this we're doing for Christmas. That is so cute, the little Santa hat there. What is that?
So we just introduced this yesterday. It has like a matcha sponge, matcha ganache, and the top has like a strawberry compote, a strawberry mousse, and then it's finished as in like it looks like a Santa hat, just to bring festive vibes to the bakery.
Yeah, it's really cute. And this is, I'm fascinated. It looks like a real lemon on top of there.
So this is our lemon cheesecake.
Okay.
It has like a mascarpone cheese, cream cheese, and inside there's a lemon gel. So once you bite into it, the lemon gel would ooze out. And the bottom we have paired with the red velvet sponge. So it like matches the colors too, and like it tastes as good as it looks.
I mean, it's also beautiful. And we jumped right in and got to the art. But give us your backstory. You've been here in the heart of downtown for 3 months. You've been a pastry chef for how long?
So it's been 10 years I've been doing this. I started my career back in India. So I did my hospitality college from India, and then I was working in like 5-star resorts back in India. And then in 2018, I moved to Canada. So I was working with like lots of French chefs. I learned techniques, how to like roll in all the French pastries. And then last year, we moved here. Like I always wanted to come to the United States. Like that was a big dream. And then it happened. Like I came in last year, we started looking for a place, and then we found this gem of a place right in heart of downtown.
Wow. So you got here just last year, and you're bringing us this amazing space. And look at these amazing pastries. I'm glad you're here.
Oh, thank you.
Can't wait to try a thing or two.
Of course.
And I mean, the croissant, right? That speaks French. You know, it's just such a classic pastry. Some of what you have here, these are display only, these ones, but these are kind of like the savory croissants.
These are like savory croissants. We have like a roast beef and mushroom, definitely a butter chicken croissants from like Indian origin has to be there. And then we are doing a spinach and ricotta. It's like really yummy. And then we are doing a spicy ham and cheese. So instead of like regular ham and cheese, it has like a kick of jalapenos to it, but not overly spicy.
Ooh, all right. It all looks so good. I'm going for anything chocolate here, Naman. The chocolate-filled croissant. It has my heart already. I haven't even tried it yet. You're actually walking us through how you make one of your special pastries. So show us the process here behind your mango pastry.
So this is the mango passion bliss that we are finishing right now. So these are already set into a mold, and they are frozen right now. So we're gonna dip it in white chocolate that's colored with yellow cocoa butter.
Oh, it's such a mesmerizing process, and I am so fascinated. And Naman was telling me a little bit more about his pastry experience. When you worked in Canada, you worked for a very historic resort, 180-year history there. Found that impressive.
Yeah, it's called El Dorado Resort in Kelowna. So
Kelowna?
Yes.
Okay.
So once we finish it off, we spray it with red velvet spray.
Oh, that hardens really quickly.
It does.
Okay.
Like it's white chocolate, and the dessert is frozen, so that's why we have to keep the frozen desserts.
And now what?
And then now we are just giving it a look of like a real mango. So we spray it with red velvet cocoa butter color, and then just to give it like a real shiny effect, we use a neutral glaze, just a little bit. So it gives like it's freshly washed mango.
Oh, that is so amazing, Des.
Yes.
And you got to sample, and it was what?
Oh, it was amazing. And that's so fascinating. So it's like a mango mousse with like real mango in the center, and he freezes that. I couldn't understand how he made it that way, how it's hard, but they freeze it and then dip it like you saw. But just amazing. He's from India, worked in British Columbia, and opened the bakery
3 months ago. So go check them out right across from Chase.
The Art of Baking.
Art of Baking.
Hey, we have a guest that we're excited to bring on board right now.
And I wish I could chat with you, but I have to go anchor the noon as well.
Oh.
So I'm going to leave you and Mara
okay.
to chat.
Introducing Mara. Mara, please don't leave me if Des is leaving.
Mara, don't leave him hanging.
I'm here.
We are going to talk about Waste Not, which is the organization that you've been running for a while now. Tell us how exactly what Waste Not is for people who are not up to speed.
Sure, wonderful. Waste Not was started in 1987.
Okay. Pull that mic right up to your...
Okay, great.
Yeah. Pull it right toward you, like it's a big radio show. There
we go. Okay, great. So yes, Waste Not was started in 1987. And what the organization does is rescue perfectly good food that would otherwise be thrown away.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get it to agencies in the Valley that in turn get it to our neighbors who are in need of food.
So time is of the essence, right? I mean, how do you tell us how the timing works? You work with these restaurants, they end up with food at the end of the night, then what?
Yeah, perfect. And we also work with grocery stores, caterers, large-scale events that are held here in Arizona.
Yeah.
And what we do is we rescue the food and many times deliver it the same day to an agency. So we will pick up the food in the morning, and by the afternoon, it's in the hands of the agencies so they can get it to those in need.
So you have a lot of vehicles around town that pick this food up, and drivers who know exactly where they're going. Like I say, time's of the essence.
Yeah, exactly. So we have 4 drivers who are on the road every day and ready to pick up food. We also have a fleet of amazing volunteers who are able to fill in when drivers are not able to get there.
So for people who are watching at home, and we all know that homelessness is an issue and hunger in the community is an issue, how can they help?
Yeah, wonderful question. There's many ways to help and to get involved. People can sign up on our website, which is www.wastenotaz.org.
Okay.
They can sign up there to be a volunteer. Folks can also make a monetary contribution, and for every $1 donated, that is able to provide 5 meals to those in need.
Really?
Yeah, so it's wonderful. It's the buying power that we're able to have.
Sure.
And as you can imagine, in today's difficult times, 1 in 10 Arizonans are in need of assistance and are facing food insecurity.
Just a few seconds left. Who are some of the agencies then that you do serve that distribute the food?
Yep, we have 85 agencies throughout the area. They're organizations that are nonprofits, 501c3s, and they're able to provide then that food to those in need.
That's so great. I've done work in the past volunteering for you guys. I just love Waste Not. We're so glad we could have you come be on a guest today. Again, it's wastenotaz.org. Right?
Exactly. And thank you very much for your commitment to the organization as well as helping everybody today to learn about what we do.
Okay. Thanks for your time.